What's going on, Sunbelt fans? My name is Dominic Crusetto. Welcome into Week 6 of the Round Ball Roundup, where we cover basketball for the Sunbelt Conference. Let's just get into the overall look from last week. Overall, the conference went 14-7 overall. Pretty good percentage there against P5's 0-2, and one of those teams was ranked, so we went 0-1 against ranked opponents. We went 2-1 against Division II or less. That includes, NAIA schools and that nature. That luckily we didn't see a lot of those types of teams, but unfortunately we had a loss to one of those teams who happened to be D3. So that's not a good look for the conference overall. So breaking down the week real quick, started off kind of decent. Louisiana took care of a smaller Christian school. UNCG did take out Marshall, which was a little disappointing with where Marshall had been. They didn't play their best game. They still had a really good game from Kinsey, but that wasn't enough to push them over the edge. Kind of their down low play kind of let them down a little bit that day. But then we've got Southern Miss taking care of Lamar. This is the one that's the real big disappointment. Mary Hardin Baylor, which is Division III non-scholarship school, goes to Texas State, beats them on their home court 71-65, and it was even felt a little further away than what it really was on the score sheet. Having watched that one, hoping that Texas State could come back and just win a game they should win. With the preseason nod for Mason Harrell, as a team, they just haven't looked good so far this season. So, some teams helped them rebound, but then we had a really bad Wednesday night. We went just 2-4 on the night overall. We did have a close one. App State almost took out Wake Forest. They had the lead and the ball with 2.3 seconds left. Inbound play didn't go how they wanted. It was kind of a double deflection. Turned it over. Wake hits a shot at the buzzer. They get the ball inbounded with like 1.8 seconds left, so they had enough time to kind of turn and shoot. Unfortunate for App to lose that one and go down. We also had Sam Houston State just kind of crush ULM 79-53. Not a good look there. As far as good looks go, though, did a little bit better with Georgia State going to number 19 Auburn. They did lose 64-72, but they were up at the half. And I think for the most part, their building blocks towards the rest of this season are going pretty well overall. So that's still a pretty good showing, especially against an opponent that's highly ranked and thought of as well as Auburn is early in the season. We then had Louisiana take care of McNeese to help round that out. And then we had a little bit, not a little bit. I'd say we had a great weekend overall. Marshall and Toledo both coming in with pretty good records. I thought it'd be the game of the day. Marshall ends up easily winning this one 100-85. Just Kinsey, again, just went off, as did Taylor. You got Kinsey going for 30, Taylor going for 27. They had two other guys in double figures. So great rebound there by that Marshall team that let one slip away down there at UNC Greensboro that they know and think they could have and should have had. Then you had a fun one to watch towards the end, Georgia Southern versus Campbell. This one was down there in Statesboro, Georgia. Georgia Southern comes away with a 54-53 victory, a close defensive battle. That last minute lasted about 15 in real time, and they had reviews and they had timeouts, and they had a timeout by each team before the ball was put back in play. But Georgia Southern comes away with a good stop there. Troy gets a win on Saturday. UL Monroe finally gets a win, a big win that they've been trying to. Their first Division I win, actually. So 83-59. That looks good for that one. So they take care of business. And then Sunday finished out really well. The conference went 3-0 overall. James Madison scores over 100 points again. And Southern Miss beats McNeese easily 86-67. As far as the look overall for the conference, you've got those top teams still up there. James Madison, Southern Miss, Louisiana, Marshall, all there at the top, looking like the best of the bunch right now. If you look at Bracketology by Joe Lenardi on ESPN, he's favoring James Madison. Not a total surprise there. I think A lot of people will be disappointed to not see Southern Miss up there because they've done pretty well. But I think what he's favoring there is the schedule that JMU has played versus Southern Miss at this point, and they're still doing really well against that schedule. If you look at the points per game, James Madison is number 1 in the country. That's not just the Sun Belt. That is the entirety of the 300-plus teams for college basketball. They're number 4 in field goal percentage, and they're also number 1 in point differential. So not only are they scoring a lot of points, they're not allowing the other team to score as many and have all these close games. Now, to note, Southern Miss is number 5. So we've got 2 teams looking really good as far as quality of wins go, which is James Madison and Southern Miss. We've got a couple other teams flirting with, getting in the top 25-ish there. Not quite top 10 territory just yet, but James Madison and Southern Miss, certainly the class of the conference thus far. As far as individual players go, we've got Kinsey in the top 10 in points, Jordan Brown from Louisiana just outside the top 25 in points. As far as rebounds go, Han Logden from Marshall, top 10 in rebounds, and Mustafa from Coastal Carolina just outside that top 10. So we've got some good players there on the offensive side of the ball. As far as blocks go, Han Logden once again from Marshall, Abson from App State, and Buffalo from ULM, all in the top 25 in blocks. We've got some big guys who can take care of the ball down low to help turn in the tide for their team, both offensively and defensively in that regard. As far as three-pointers go, Camden Kerfman just outside the top 10 in threes. That he is a player on that Marshall team and was one of the ones who had a pretty good game there against Toledo. Austin Crowley from USM, Southern Miss, just outside the top 10 in steals. So this conference is made up of a lot of good quality players. It doesn't seem like any team has necessarily 3 or 4 of them, and maybe that's why we don't have any teams sniffing the top 25 at this time. I think James Madison and Southern Miss keep this pace up through conference play. We're going to start seeing some others receiving votes category. We know that this conference hasn't been well thought of in the basketball realm in some time, maybe ever. I hope the addition of these teams, which is kind of funny that the top teams right now are looking like most of the newer teams in the conference, but hopefully the addition of these new teams can bring up the quality of the other teams around them as well, and these conference games really get exciting and good and quality basketball to watch. I think that's certainly going to be the case. We're going to get into those very shortly. We've got the week coming up. We've got College of Charleston going to Coastal Carolina. That's a heavy matchup for Coastal. They're not going to be favored in that one, but it'd be great if they could pull off the upset over C of C in that game. We've also got a good George Mason team traveling to ODU. That's a close in-state matchup there. Should be exciting to watch that one. Louisiana travels to Texas, where, again, they won't be favored, but with what they're at and Jordan Brown on that team, you never know. We hope for a big upset in that one. App State travels out to Phoenix in the Tempe area to take on UC Santa Barbara. No, they're not a top 25 team, but they do have a quality strength of schedule and record at this point, so it'd be a big win for App traveling all the way out on the other side of the country. You've got Georgia Southern going up against Ball State up there at Ball State. That'll be a tough game. Ball State pretty good on the year so far. We'll see if Georgia Southern can take them down a notch. And then we've got probably the game of the week, as far as I'm concerned, Southern Miss at UNLV. So this won't be easy. Southern Miss traveling all the way out there to Las Vegas for this one, but UNLV, as we all know, top team routinely. Even if they're not in the top 25, they're never easy to beat. Certainly won't be easy to beat at home. That's going to do it for this week of the Round Ball Roundup. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Checking out the videos, posting to social media. We've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok that we keep you up to date nightly as we go along. A little bit less this week with the holidays coming up, but still important games because right after this we're jumping into conference play. So best of luck to all the Sun Belt teams this coming week before we get into conference play, and then we start beating each other up a little bit. Little trash talk. Let's have some fun with it. Thanks for listening. We'll see y'all next time.